Imagine falling from more than 10,000 meters, over 33,000 feet, without a parachute, not for a few seconds, not for a minute, but all the way to the ground. It sounds impossible, yet one woman did exactly that, and somehow she survived. This is the unbelievable story of Vesna Vulovic, the flight attendant who survived the highest fall without a parachute ever recorded. The story began on January 26, 1972. 22-year-old Vesna Vulovic was working as a flight attendant for Yugoslav Airlines. But according to several accounts, she wasn't even supposed to be on that flight. A mix-up involving another employee with the same first name reportedly resulted in Vesna being assigned to the crew, a simple administrative mistake, one that may have changed aviation history forever. The aircraft, a McDonnell Douglas DC-9, departed from Copenhagen and headed toward Belgrade. Everything appeared normal. Passengers were settling into their seats. Crew members were carrying out routine duties. No one on board could have imagined what was about to happen. About 46 minutes into the flight, while cruising at more than 10,000 meters, or 33,000 feet above the ground, disaster struck. A powerful explosion tore through the aircraft. Investigators later concluded that a bomb placed in the luggage compartment was the most likely cause. The blast ripped the plane apart in midair. In an instant, the cabin lost pressure. Sections of the aircraft separated. Passengers, luggage, and debris were thrown into the freezing sky. The aircraft was destroyed. There were 28 people on board. No one should have survived. But one person did. Somewhere amid the chaos, Vesna became trapped inside a section of the aircraft's fuselage. A food cart reportedly pinned her in place. Strangely, that may have saved her life. Instead of being thrown from the aircraft, she remained inside a large piece of wreckage as it plummeted toward the earth. For several terrifying minutes, the remains of the aircraft fell through the winter sky. Then came the impact. The fuselage section crashed into a heavily forested, snow-covered mountainside in what is now the Czech Republic. The trees helped slow the descent. The thick snow softened the impact. But even with those advantages, survival was almost unimaginable. When rescue teams began searching the wreckage, they expected to recover bodies. Instead, they found something no one thought possible: a survivor. Vesna Vulovic was still alive. Barely, but alive. She had suffered catastrophic injuries. Her skull was fractured. Her pelvis was broken. Both legs were shattered. Several vertebrae in her spine were crushed. At one point, she was paralyzed from the waist down, yet somehow her heart kept beating. A local villager named Bruno Hanke found her among the wreckage. By extraordinary coincidence, he had previously served as a military medic during World War II. His immediate assistance may have played a crucial role in keeping her alive until professional rescuers arrived. Vesna was rushed to the hospital. Doctors fought to save her life. For 27 days, she remained in a coma. Many believed she would never wake up, but she did. Then came the even greater challenge: learning to live again. Months passed. Surgeries followed. Rehabilitation was painful and uncertain. Doctors were not sure she would ever walk. Yet once again, Vesna defied expectations. About 10 months after the accident, she began walking again. Eventually, she recovered enough to live independently. Perhaps the most astonishing detail of all was that she remembered almost nothing about the crash itself. Her last memory was greeting passengers before takeoff. Her next memory was waking up in a hospital. The most terrifying event in her life had simply vanished from her mind. Many people would never step onto an airplane again after such an experience. Vesna was different. She did not develop a fear of flying. In fact, she wanted to return to work as a flight attendant. The airline decided against it, and instead gave her an office position. Over time, she became a national celebrity. People around the world were fascinated by her story. In 1985, she was officially recognized by Guinness World Records for surviving the highest fall without a parachute ever recorded. The award was presented to her by Paul McCartney himself. Years turned into decades. Vesna continued living her life. She worked, she traveled, she became involved in political activism in her home country. Most importantly, she proved that she was more than a survivor. She was a person who refused to let a tragedy define her future. In 2016, Vesna Vulović passed away at the age of 66. By then, she had spent 42 years living after the day she should have died. And to this day, her record remains untouched. More than 10,000 meters, over 33,000 feet, a fall that should have been impossible to survive, yet somehow, against every law of probability, every expectation, and every prediction, Vesna Vulović lived, and her story remains one of the most extraordinary examples of survival in human history.